There is always something special about going home, about going back to your roots, whether it's the house where you grew up in or maybe your hometown. But there's always something really special about remembering your roots and remembering where you came from, because that's the foundation of our identity. It's where our formation began. It's where those first seeds were planted. And when we go home, we always know that we're going to be loved and accepted precisely as we are, completely without condition. And this is certainly something that I've experienced already as a priest, of just knowing that my home and my hometown is this place that I can go to, and I don't have to worry about being Father. I can just be Grant, and I can be loved exactly as I am. But when we go home, it can also be an escape. It can be a place where we ignore the fact that we need to be healed. And we can run away from that place to ignore whatever it is that's going on in our heart. And the Sea of Galilee is both of those things for Simon Peter. And we see that very clearly in our gospel for today. So this is post-resurrection. So Jesus has risen from the dead. And Simon Peter has seen Jesus a number of times. He has not spoken to him. And so he is still waiting for that forgiveness from his threefold denial the night before Jesus was crucified. And what does Peter do? He goes back to the only place, the only thing he has ever known. He goes back to his comfort zone, which is the sea. But at the end of the day, Peter is a fisherman. And so that's where he feels safe. That's where he has control. Then he says to his disciples very clearly, I'm going fishing. And they're like, well, we'll go with you. And you can almost see them like marching down to the sea. It's like, okay, this is what we're doing. But they catch nothing. They don't catch a single fish. And then Jesus shows up. And he meets Peter exactly where he's most comfortable, in the place that is most familiar to him, by the sea, right on the Sea of Galilee, which immediately calls Peter back to his denial. So let's rewind the clocks a little bit. Back to the denial. Okay, so Peter is standing by a fire, and he's outside the courtyard in Jerusalem. Then the very first thing the women say to him is this. They say, you're a follower of Jesus. And he says, no. And then they say to him, we know who you are. You're one of the 12. You're one of his disciples. Then he says, no. So he's denied Jesus, and then he denies his friends. And the very last thing they say to him is, we know who you are. You're a Galilean. You're from Galilee. Then he says, no, I'm not, which is the worst of the three, because he denies the fabric of his identity, where he comes from, the family who raised him, the environment he grew up in. He rejects it. He says, I'm not from there. That's not who I am. And that's the rejection, that's the denial that causes him to weep so bitterly. And so Jesus shows up in this moment of reconciliation, and he says to Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He identifies him with his Father. That means so much to be named the son of his Father means so much. Just think of everything that means. Right? You, Simon, who were raised here, you grew up here, your friends are here, this is where you learned to fish, this is where you learned your trade, and this is where you met me. And this is where you fell in love with me. Do you love me? feed my sheep. Right? The lesson for us today is very simple and very clear. Whenever Jesus challenges us to move into the next chapter of our life, just like he does for Peter in this moment. When you were younger, you did this, but now I'm asking you to push yourself to move into this next chapter. Whenever Jesus does that, for each and every one of us, it is always from a place of familiarity. Jesus never comes out of left field and says, this is the way you're living, and now I'm going to throw something so totally new that you won't even be able to accept it. That's not how he works. He always challenges from a place where we are completely receptive. We are in a place where we are able to receive what he wills to give us. Right? He challenges Peter at home, and he forgives him at home and pushes him into a new place. And it is the same for us. Right? It is by remembering our roots, where we come from, what the fabric of our identity is, that gives us the strength and the courage to go to a place we do not want to go. Jesus never asks us to abandon our roots for our identity, but to rely on them as the foundation of who we are and to step into something new.